Hey guys, welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Katie, and I've been wanting to make this video forever. If you're like me and you have a dad or brother or son or friend or you yourself, whoever is watching this video, I am going to make a pretty big list of books that are Christian fiction for men. Now, it's not just for men, obviously. It's just going to be books that the main focus is not romance. It either has no romance or it is a very, very subplot of the story and it's not the main part. So I'm just going to have fun and give you a bunch of book recommendations that are Christian fiction, clean reads, but they're going to have action, they're going to have fun, they're going to have more meaning to the stories, and I just have a giant list. I made literally screenshots of every single book that's been on my read shelf on Goodreads. Yes, these are all books that I can recommend and have read. So they are not ones that like I just looked up randomly. No, these are ones that I've all read and all enjoyed in some way or other. So let's just go ahead and get started. I did put these in order of genre, not alphabetical genres, but just in their own genres. That way, if you love fantasy, if you love sci-fi, if you love historical fiction, if you love contemporary, I put them all in each genre. So that way, you know, I will try to put timestamps down in the description box so you can find them a little bit easier. But I tried to put at least between 5 to 8 different books in each genre so you guys could have a bunch of really great recommendations. So I have fantasy up first, and I have quite a few to talk about. So the first one is The Whisperer's Wish by Janice Lloyd. This is a, I would say, YA fantasy type story that kind of feels like The Hunger Games a little bit, because in this we're following a girl named Laura Lynn, and she's been keeping a secret. She's a whisperer, and as a whisperer, she has trouble revealing that secret, because if she does, it kind of puts her life in peril and in danger because everyone wants what she has. And so, but being a whisperer helps her to get into these games and to get into these games and to win the prize. And the prize is that a wish is granted, and she really, really needs that wish. And so it's just high stakes. As I said, Hunger Game feel to it. Really love it. Was there a romance in it? If there was, it was pretty like subplot. You probably wouldn't even notice it's there because I don't remember there being one. So if there is, I don't think you would even notice. But I really did enjoy this one. If you love the Hunger Games, I think you'll really enjoy this. It's also, I believe, a standalone, so I think you'll really enjoy this one. Next is a trilogy, but I've only read book 1. But I did enjoy it, and I will be continuing this series. I do own book 2, but this is Shadowcast, book 1 in the Gateway trilogy. And this is a fantasy. I would say, honestly, this is fairly non-magical. Like, well, there's a little bit of magic in this book. I guess I'll let you guys know if there's magic or not. This one, I guess, does have a little bit. But in this one, we're following a man who lost his brother at the hands of the Steward Knights. And so Mason decides to join the Dark Army. So he's part of the Dark Army. Something happens where he gets injured, and he puts on the kind of the war garb of the Steward Knights, and somebody mistakes him for a Steward Knight and comes and, you know, decides to help heal him and bring him back to health. Well, of course, you know, there's a little bit of a romance, but as I said, I think this one's fairly, you know, it's not much on the romance, it's more on the journey of, you know, discovering like what the Dark Army really is, and oh, it's not as good as you think it is, and maybe the stewards are, you know, better, but we don't know, because as I said on book 1, but I did really enjoy book 1, and I'm excited to continue. And these covers are amazing. I love these covers, so I am intrigued to continue on. I will probably have to reread it, but I did really enjoy it. But he just wants to avenge his brother's death, but then there's this peasant girl that, even though she's with, like, you know, his enemy, she's treating him with extreme kindness, and so I really enjoyed that one. Next, we have another standalone, and this one is Wish Dress by Nadine Brendez. And this one, I would say Shadowcast feels more like it could be adult fantasy, even though they could be younger characters, but this one does feel more adult fantasy. This one I feel is definitely a little bit more YA fantasy. I feel like a lot of fantasy is YA, in my honest opinion. As far as like Christian fantasy goes, I will have to read more, but this one's definitely more YA fantasy. And this one we're following a girl who, she is cursed because her tears grant wishes, Well, she's cursed by someone where the next tear that she cries will actually kill her. And it's really incredible. And I loved there's not really romance in here. There's a man in this story that he can stop time. And it's one of my favorite superpowers. I'm like, stopping time? Are you kidding me? Like, just, oh, his whole side of the story, I wanted like more of his story. I was like, I want more of him. I want more on the stopping time and everything. It was just great. I really loved it. And this one I feel has a lot of allegory in it. Like this is the most I've ever tabbed a book in my life. And yes, I'm not done that many, but it's insane how much allegory and how much faith there is if you look, and if you're not a Christian, like honestly, I don't think you would understand like honestly most of it, but a lot of allegory in here, and it's such a great read. I love this book. I really wish there was a sequel to it. Next this is book 1, but none of the other books are out yet. This is called Hazel Atlas and the Doorway to Ur. It's part of the Chronicles of Emuna, and this is a spiritual warfare fantasy. So in this one, we're actually fighting the spiritual bad army, and so we're physically actually battling it. So she gets into a car accident with her brother during, I think it's Halloween Eve or something, and something happens where she is pushed out of the way from the car and her brother is very seriously injured. And so he's dealing with grief and struggling to, get back to life, and she is pushed to safety, finds some key that has her name on it, and she's like, okay, well, Hazel Atlas, that's a name that you don't find anywhere. Like, why does this key have my name? And the key leads to the Doorway to Ur, where she starts to train to defeat the spiritual armies. And it was very, very good. Very thick fantasy, but honestly, I just sped through it. It was such a great read. I think I read this in like 48 hours, I think. And physically too, like not on ebook or anything. But I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was really, really great. And so I'm intrigued to see where it goes when there is a second book. Hopefully there is soon. And then the next one is another standalone fantasy, and this is A Dream Teller by Katie Shade. This is, I would say, upper YA. The other one was YA as well, but this one was so good. I mean, anybody can read YA books. Even if you're like, 104, read YA. Who cares, right? So I really enjoyed this one, though. Dream Teller by Katie Shade. This is a Daniel from the Bible retelling. This was definitely a non-magical fantasy. But she has these dreams that kind of like tell her that there's another heir, and so she's trying to figure out. It's also a little bit of like Snow White mixed with Robin Hood as well, kind of. So like it's kind of like got like that feel of like historical type fantasy. It was so good. Mistaken identities. There is romance in this one for sure, but I thought the romance was really, really well done, and I loved this book so much. Now we're going to go into sci-fi, and this is a little bit of a mix between time travel as well as like sci-fi space type books. So a lot of these, as I said, are YA, but a few of them are more heading towards adult fiction. So just based on like the age of the characters and stuff. So the first one is a first book in a series, which I read just a little while ago, and book 2 isn't out yet, I don't think. And this is called 21 Stones by Janice Bokahoff. This is book 1 in Leap Limit. And this is I would say honestly, this is closer to like adult fiction because the main character is like 21-ish. So I would say new adult age. But this is about Mars, and he lives for excitement. And he is like a physicist. It also reminds me of like Quantum Leap, the 80s TV show. So if you've ever seen that, it kind of reminds me of that as well. So, but he's a physicist, and he is kind of like a quantum physics major in college, and something happens where he needs to stop a killer from killing, and he ends up in the middle of the Civil War. And so it's kind of got like a mixture of nowadays or maybe a little bit in the future plus back during the Civil War era. And so this one does end on a little bit of a cliffhanger, I will say that, so be prepared, and hopefully the next book is out soon. But I did really enjoy this one. It's nice and short as well, but as I said, it has kind of that quantum leap aspect to it that I really, really enjoyed. So yeah, definitely check that one out. Then I have the Drossarin Saga, which I'm only going to show you book 1 through 3 because that's what I've read so far. I still need to finish it. I was hoping to finish it by this video, but we haven't yet. But I do highly, highly recommend this series by Ronnie Kendig. 100%. I would say adult fantasy, just because it's got more, I guess, high stakes, a little bit of more older characters, I would say. Not super old. I would say like mid to late 20s, maybe early 30s. But I highly, highly love this series. And these ones were following Marcos, and Marcos is a bounty hunter. And so he has been kind of pushed into finding this lady because supposedly she killed off her entire family and her planet. But they both find out that they have this mark on their arms that kind of leads to a prophecy that connects the two of them throughout time and history and stuff. And it's just really, really great story. I loved, the audiobooks. If you are an audiobook listener, you need to read the audiobooks of this series. Book 4 does not have an audiobook, unfortunately. Book 5 does, though. But books 1 through 3, amazing. The narrator, Adam Gold, I believe, is like the best narrator on the planet. So good, so good. You will not be sorry. Sound effects, you get kind of like the over the radio in between spaceships. You get alien voices. So good. I can't recommend those enough, but love this series. Brand of Light is the first one, if you wanted to know, by Ronnie Kendick. So thoroughly enjoyed that one. Then the next ones I have is a duology by Morgan L. Bussey. And this is kind of I would say more dystopian type of duology. So this is Sky World, and the first book is Secrets in the Mist, and the second one is called Blood Secrets. So this is about kind of a dystopian setting where everybody who is anybody lives above the mist, and underneath the mist, people kind of turn into, yes, I would kind of say zombie-esque creatures, because I don't know, something just happens to them where it causes, them to become kind of zombie-esque. And there are these sky pirates that kind of go into the mist with protective gear to either look for family mementos or things lost or treasure or whatever that they're hired to get from the mist. And so really enjoyed it. I love kind of finding out like how the mist came to be, what's going on. So I really did enjoy this duology. Definitely was very intriguing. Then I have three books / series that I don't own physically. The first one is The Nightmare Virus by Nadine Brendez, who also wrote Wistress. That one I feel like is definitely more geared toward like the video gamers out there. I used to be a little bit of a video gamer, not anymore really, but it definitely has that feel like kind of like Ready Player One a little bit. But in this one, we're following this kid who he's also been infected. Most everybody's been infected in the world, where something happens where the more you sleep, the less you live, I guess. That didn't make any sense. But you slowly like continue to fall asleep until you're just asleep, and then you die because you can't eat, you can't do anything. So like if you're like asleep for like 3 hours, you're awake for 21. You're asleep for 10, you're awake for 10, and then until you're all of a sudden you're completely asleep for like the entire time, and you're only awake for like 1 or 2 hours. So really phenomenal finding out like what that dream state is, what's in that dream state. This kid is trying to figure out how to get out of this dream state, and it's just really, really good. Really enjoyed it. That could also be a series, if I'm being honest. It felt like it could have been, but I really did enjoy that one. Next is the Chaos series by John S. Lewis. This is definitely more of a lower YA age, because we're following a kid who gets recruited into kind of this military-esque school where they're training to fight aliens. But it's just kind of like a silly, fun time, training to fight off these aliens. And I enjoyed it. It was a good time. And as I said, just lower YA. I really enjoyed the relationships between like the students and the characters and stuff. Really enjoyed that. And it was just a fun sci-fi alien time. I like alien stories. What can I say? Then the last one in sci-fi is the Bright Empire series by Stephen R. Lawhead. This is a time travel series. Now, I've only read books 1 through 3, I think. That sounds right. And man, I tell you, like, I wanted to binge read, but like something happened where it's been like 2 years. No, it's been 5 years since I started book 1, so you can tell how that's going. But don't get me wrong, I am really enjoying the series. I just need to actually finish it. But I did really enjoy it. It's about this man and not necessarily a girlfriend. Like, they went on a first date, but then something happens where both of them end up going back in time, but not to the same era. So they're both kind of stuck trying to figure out how to find each other while also living a daily life in like a weird time. And I hated the girl in like the first half of the first book, but then I really liked her character and how she grew. She grew throughout her struggles in the past and finding out, you know, how to live in the past. So I really ended up loving her character so much more. So I do want to continue that series. Highly recommend it. And I'll recommend it more once I'm done with it. I'm sorry it's getting a little dark in here because it's getting late already. It's like almost dinner time, so I need to hurry up and give you many more recommendations. So we're going to go into historical fiction next, and I have a few of these. So the first one I don't have physically, that is the King Raven series by Stephen R. Lawhead. If you love Robin Hood, this is a great series. Very minimal romance in it, very, very little romance. This is just a fun trilogy, each talking about, Robin Hood, Tuck, and I believe Scarlet, I think. And so each one is following one of the characters in the Merry Men, and it's definitely more kind of got that Renaissance historical feel to it. Definitely more historical storytelling. I would say there's not a whole lot of action. It's more about the storytelling and the characters and how they came, you know, to be the Merry Men and be, you know, trying to get back King Raven's throne, so to speak. But I really did enjoy the trilogy. That one did take me a little while to complete, but I'm glad I did complete it, and I did really enjoy that. Then the rest I have physically. And some of the contemporary books I have later might be like set in historical times, but they felt more contemporary, like contemporary storytelling, so to speak. But these are definitely historical fiction. The first one is The Long March Home by Marcus Brotherton and Tusca Lee. This is definitely a hits you in the gut World War II fiction. This is set in Burma, I believe. It's in the Pacific. I'm pretty sure it's Burma, but I could be totally wrong about that. Well, it's the Philippines area. But it's the last stand on the Bataan Peninsula, and so we're following American troops as they it was ending during the largest surrender of American troops. So we're following during them with the Death March during World War II in the Philippines, and so it is very, very heartbreaking. There is a slight romance in this, but because we're following one of the characters in their past before they were sent to war, but it's so heartbreaking seeing how the characters were dealing with this in the army camps and stuff, and seeing like really they don't go light on the gross aspects of what the military men dealt with in those camps. So yeah, it was very, very heartbreaking, but it was very good. I love this book so much. I wish these authors would write more together. I feel like they're a good team, and as I said, this is a very heartbreaking story, but it is very, very good World War II fiction. Then I have, which is one of my absolute favorite World War II fiction authors, and that is Amanda Barrett. If you read anything by Amanda Barrett, and you will be happy. This is my favorite by her, The Warsaw Sisters, and my dad read it and really enjoyed it as well. So this one we're following two sisters, and their father passed away during the war, and both of them kind of have a falling out with each other, and so they kind of like split off and they live in different areas of Poland. Well, then both sisters end up working with the resistance in different ways. And again, this one is very heartbreaking. There's some moments in this story where I was bawling my eyes out. Very, very emotional, but it is so good. And just her storytelling, you can tell she puts just so much heart and research into her books, and definitely anybody will enjoy these for sure, especially if you like emotional reads. And then I have this one, which is, I think this is my last World War II book. So this one's set during, this isn't World War II. I think this is after the Korean War, I believe. But this is Shadows in the Mind's Eye by Danair Trump. And this is about a man who was in, I believe it is the Korean War. I think it's around 1970s. And she longs to turn back time to back before her husband Sam was in the military, because Sam comes back and he has PTSD. But he suffers from supposed hallucinations, as well as almost nearly killing his brother when he comes back home. And so they're trying to figure out, what's going on, what's happening. There's a little bit more going on than meets the eye, so you just have to read it and find out what's happening. But really enjoyed it. It does say that it was like an Alfred Hitchcock feel. I don't feel like it really was, honestly. Like, there was a little bit of mystery going on, but I felt like it didn't have quite the twists and turns that Alfred Hitchcock does. But it was still really good. Then the last two that I have for historical fiction are one that's set really far back in the past. This is A Kingdom to Claim by Sean and Bessie. This is set in AD 878, so it's way back, way back. And this is during the era of the Vikings. And so in this one, we're following a girl named Aisley, and her life is changed when her father accompanies King Alfred into battle and loses his life with the Vikings. And so I think something happens where the Vikings are rallying again against the borders, and Aisley feels that her older brother has changed so much that he is just kind of going against the king. And she's like, wait, this wasn't my brother of years ago. You know, he's completely changed. And there's some great kind of Viking battle scenes in this book that honestly made me look up Viking music. I'm just saying, I looked up Viking music and I was like, it just like paired perfectly with this book. There's a little bit of romance, but as I said, it's more like the Viking era and the history. It was just a fun read, you know, just that time period with, you know, and as I said, there was some pretty intense battle scenes. I don't think they were too intense, but I just really enjoyed it. It was very, very good. Then the last one that I have, any books by this author, but I think this one is really good. So this one is Coal Black Lies by Cindy K. Sproles. Now, I will say there are trigger warnings in this for attempted suicide. It's right on the first page. Just honestly, if you want to or if you need to, just skip over that first page. And honestly, I think you'd be fine the rest of the book. So, but it is pretty heartbreaking. We're following a man who is named Joshua, and he attempts suicide right in the beginning of the book, but something stops him. And so he ends up discovering that there's a little girl in the woods, and he lost his little girl years ago. And so he's like, well, who is this little girl? What's going on? And, you know, he thought maybe it's, you know, the ghost of his daughter, which it isn't, but some random girl, a little girl lost in the woods in the middle of nowhere. So he takes her in along with his wife, and it's just such a sweet story. It's very heartbreaking. There's things going on with the family that owns like the coal miner town. They're absolutely terrible family, but I just really enjoyed it. Very heartbreaking. All of her stories are heartbreaking, but the characters just stick with you after you read the last page. It's still those characters still stick with me, and it's been like a year since I read that book. Okay, everyone, I think I'm actually going to stop the video there because I only have 5% left of my battery. So I'm going to make this a two-part series. You're just going to have to wait until the beginning of May to see the next one. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. But next time we're going to talk about contemporaries, romantic suspense, well, more suspense than romance, trust me. And then biblical fiction. So we'll talk about all those in next month's video. But I hope you got lots of good recommendations from this video. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Let me know if any of these you're planning on picking up. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you all in the next video.